This is QTV News. I am Ansumana Esonyasi and thanks for joining us. Our headlines. The Muslim New Year has been commemorated across the world. In the Gambia, the public holiday was a time for prayer, remembrance and deep reflection. The government has issued a statement in response to concerns about the misuse of diplomatic passports. President Adama Barrow this evening left for the Kingdom of Qatar for a 3-day state visit. He was seen on departure by the Vice President, Cabinet Ministers and security chiefs. The President is expected to use the visit to strengthen the bilateral ties between Banjul and Doha and to seek more support from Qatar to advance his government's development agenda. And at a National Youth Dialogue event, among other things, there were calls for government to communicate better with youths rather than through press releases sent to the media. Stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. Muslims converged in large numbers at the Taqwa Mosque in Kanifing to celebrate the feast of Yawm al-Ashura, locally known as Tamharit, which signifies the commencement of the Muslim New Year. QTV's Lamin Dabo reports.
Yawm al-Ashura, locally called Tamharit in Wolof, is a feast celebrated at the beginning of a new Muslim year, on the 10th day of the month. On this auspicious day, Muslims gathered at mosque and make recitations and supplications, asking for Allah's forgiveness and bountiful blessings for a prosperous year ahead. QTV visited the Taqwa Mosque in Kanifing, where men, women and children gathered to mark the occasion, led by Dr. Imam Omar Jah. In attendance were many dignitaries from across Gambian society, including the CEO of Q Group, Mohammed Jah. In shedding light on the importance of the day, one of the scholars present, Imam Aliu Saho, had this to say.
Alhamdulillah, the importance of this day, the originated is from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he do what we call hijrah, it's called a gaddai. When he went to Medina to Munawwara, he found the Yahud Jews of the Medina, found them doing fasting of this day and doing some Eid, it's called fete of this day. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked them, why you do this? He told them, this is the day of Allah help Musa alayhi salatu wasalam from the evils or from the harms of Pharaoh. That's why they fete or they do some fete for the Eidul, it's called Tamharit.
In the importance of asking for forgiveness, Birandao, a staff member of Maska Senior Secondary School, went on to say,
humanity, or that is we show love to each other, whereby you go to people, ask for forgiveness, because you may offend the person knowingly or unknowingly. That is why it's good to go to the family members or the neighbors or to even the people you work with. You ask for forgiveness because you may offend them directly or indirectly.
Osman Sisao, a resident of Old Joshua, shared on some of the expectations from Muslims on the celebration of this day, and he has this to say.
It
is part of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to keep fast on the 9th and the 10th day of this month. So I am urging my fellow Muslims to do the same in order for us to be included among the victorious servants of Allah. I am wishing each and everyone a happy Yawm al-Ashura.
Yawm al-Ashura serves as a day of reflection on the activities of the past year and also the narrations of the stories of various miracles of prophets, which were said to coincide with the day in different years in the past, purposely for Muslims to learn moral lessons. According to Islamic scholars, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's message to his Sahabas to be conveyed to the worldwide Muslim Ummah from generation to generation was centered on repentance, as he urged them to avoid committing sins, which he described as the major illness in their lives as Muslims. For QTV News, Lamin Alaj Fandin Dabo.
President Adama Barrow this evening left for the Kingdom of Qatar for a 3-day state visit. He was seen on departure by the Vice President, Cabinet Ministers and security chiefs. The president is expected to use the visit to strengthen bilateral ties between Banjul and Doha and to seek more support from Qatar to advance his government's development agenda. As part of the ongoing transitional justice process, Qatar provided a $3 million grant to the Gambia. The Gulf state also funded the training of 12 candidates from the Ministry of Justice, the police and the judiciary to undergo training in cybercrime and anti-crime in Qatar. This is President Barrow's first visit to Qatar since assuming office. Meanwhile, in response to weeks of rumors, claims and speculation about alleged abuses of the issuance of diplomatic passports, there has been a statement from government in the name of the government spokesperson. Mahmoud Lamin Choi has more.
The statement says, among other things, that there have been significant developments in the investigations, including the arrest of several people in Germany who are assisting the inquiry, that similar arrests have been made in the Gambia. The exact number of people arrested is not given for either Germany or Gambia, nor are their nationalities revealed. However, it states that they amount to dozens. That once news of this scandal broke, a task force was formed comprising the Gambia Police Force, the Immigration Department and the State Intelligence Services (SIS). That the task force will also conduct a complete inventory of all diplomatic passports issued since 2016 with verification of all their holders' profiles. To quote directly from the statement, under Gambian law, the issuing of diplomatic passports rests exclusively with the presidency, and those that acquire their passports legitimately by using the established procedural channels are not the subject of this criminal inquiry. The probe targets those who knowingly acted illegally by falsifying documents, aiding and abetting in the sale, procurement and acquisition of this precious national document for all the wrong reasons. And Mr. Barrow has made it categorically clear that there will be no sacred cows. No one will be spared in these investigations regardless of one's position, and all those found wanting will face the full extent of the law. The statement concludes by stating that government will soon convene a meeting with members of the diplomatic and consular corps to immediately address this and similar pressing issues. Mahmoud Lamin Choi for QTV News.
National Youth Council, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, hosted the first National Youth Dialogue on the various ongoing reform processes in the Gambia. Mamjara ACC tells us more.
Maybe hope, maybe justice, maybe the two-faced man who is mourning in between my legs while I groan in pain, crying my heart out to the world and my aunties dancing along with the clot that has my blood.
The dialogue aims to mobilize citizens, especially youths, to create awareness of the reform processes taking place in the country, such as the Constitutional Review Commission, Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, Security Sector Reforms, and National Human Rights Commission. The initiative seeks to directly engage youths to take part in the development of the country and to send and receive feedback, recommendations from various reform sectors. Governor, speaking at the event, mentioned the growing lack of tolerance and diversity of opinion among youths in the Gambia. He says tolerance and kindness are virtues.
We are concerned about the progress of this country. Should be ready to accept that we'll have to have different views whenever matters are tabled before us. And unless we are able to accept other people's points of view, we are not going to make any progress. Most of the time, all we are interested in is how to shame people who disagree with us, or how to shun people who disagree with us. These are not virtues that we should maintain as Gambians.
During ex-President Jammeh's 22 years of authoritarian rule, the lack of security policy was a major problem. Within this period, the Constitution of the Gambia was changed 52 times to satisfy the ex-president's urges. Furthermore, during his rule, there were 7 security sector reforms, but all of these were politicized. The former regime exhibited a clear absence of proper security, leading to disappearances, extrajudicial killings, rape, arbitrary arrest, witch hunts, and much more. Rohi Samba, says economic stability cannot be achieved without security, stressing the importance of development as an axis of security.
So we need a streamlined security sector that is capable and accountable to democratic principles. So the economic paxo can come in when you talk about development as a nexus of security, because without security, there cannot be development, there cannot be peace, there cannot be stability. Why the emphasis is on security is because of this very thing, which is why it became a very prominent issue at governance level, featured highly at the National Development Plan.
Recently, police-civilian confrontations have been intense, resulting to increasing mistrust between the police and the youths. Emmanuel Daniel Juve, head of the Human Rights Commission, spoke of the ongoing processes in the reorientation of the Gambia police force in efforts to maintain peace and security.
This tension needs to be addressed, and the National Human Rights Commission is very concerned about this, and that was why we, just last week, we had a training program with junior and mid-level officers, 30 of them, on human rights and human rights teams. And also, we are going to engage the senior level police officers very soon in this, in a dialogue and training.
Mr. Juve addressed Justice Minister Abubakar Tambadu's recent statement that the Ministry of Justice has insufficient numbers of lawyers, saying this has left many concerned about its effects on the execution of judicial duties.
The Ministry of Justice play a very important part in the justice system. You know, it's the key institution. With all these reforms, they've worked tirelessly to make sure that, well, with development partners, that we have even all these transitional justice processes that we have. They prosecute, you know, so I hope they're working out something, but this is where we are, unfortunately.
One outcome of the discussion is that young people are asking the government to communicate with them on issues rather than sending press releases to the media. UNDP representative Aissata reassured the youths of UNDP relentless support towards national development, while appealing to them for their consistent participation in national reforms. The initiative is part of the Youth Connect Gambia project, targeting priority areas in civil leadership and participation. Youth Connect Gambia identifies dialogue as one of the main strategies to facilitating youth civic leadership and participation in the Gambia. It is believed the creation of safer civic space for youth to discuss ongoing reform process and development issue within the Youth Connect initiative could enhance citizens' ownership and grassroots participation in the processes. Reporting for QTV News, I am Mamjara Asise.
And from that report by Mamjara Sise, we take a short commercial break. We will be right back.
Looking for internet for your free videos, pictures, chats, work, and school projects? Think free night browsing. QCell's free night browsing lets you browse the internet for free. Oh yeah. Get a data SIM, recharge a minimum of $500 and enjoy free browsing after 24 hours from midnight to 6 a.m. every night for 30 days. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
It is the new era in broadcasting. We showed it to you with our continuously improving content with thousands of viewers around the world. Now, how do you take advantage of our existing and constantly increasing viewership? Advertise with QTV and reach a large audience. Call us on 3244 or email marketing@qtv.gm. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. QTV Gambia. QTV, a new era in broadcasting.
Welcome back. The Central Projects Coordinating Unit of the Ministry of Agriculture has recently received a high-powered agricultural delegation from Senegal. Here on a study tour to get first-hand knowledge on the already established Gambia Commercial Agriculture and Value Chain Project, which the Senegalese hope to implement in their country. Babu Garci has the rest of that story.
The 3-day exchange visit is to grant the Senegalese agricultural sector a first-hand information on the Gambia Commercial and Value Chain Project, GCAF, a $19 million 5-year project funded by the World Bank. Senegal will be starting a similar project like GCAF called Perils, which aims at raising the standard of women, especially in horticulture. The delegation paid a courtesy call on the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Lamin Camara, who said the Gambia realized a great improvement in agriculture, which contributes a lot to the GDP.
It has been a project that has been dear to our heart as a country, and we have seen the project delivered in the course of the project tenure period, 4 or 5 years, and we have seen it delivered in areas that really matter to the Gambian people. And we have seen how important the sector is, even in the rebasing of our economy, of our GDP. We saw our GDP when it was rebased from 2004 base year to 2013 base year prices. We have seen GDP move to about 49% increment in valuation of our goods and services. And part of that increment, 74% almost is linked to horticulture.
Alison Nyang, coordinator, Perels Project Senegal, expressed gratitude for the level of cooperation given to them by the Gambia Agricultural Ministry. He stressed that the World Bank is funding a similar project in Senegal called Perils, which is similar to GCAF, saying it was therefore necessary to learn from best practice. He stressed the importance of horticulture in any country, with an emphasis on Senegal and Gambia. He acknowledged that Senegal has managed the level of rice importation and irrigation that the Gambia needs to attain. He acknowledged the importance GCAF have paved the foundation for helping communities to attain self-sufficiency. Abdoulaye Toure, Project Coordinator, Central Project Coordination Unit, noted the improvement gained since the introduction of GCAF 5 years ago, saying that the project has achieved its objectives in helping women.
The beauty about this garden is we also help the women, because we know marketing is a big challenge. If it comes to vegetables, we supported them, facilitated to partner with Radville. And in this partnership, this is where they have entered into a high value crop, which is baby corn. And this baby corn, when it matures, it's harvested and they export it to Europe, particularly in UK. So after selling, they just come and pay these groups checks. And this has increased their livelihood and their income base.
After a tour of one of the vegetable gardens in Fonyi, funded by GCAF, Mamadou Ndiaye, an engineer in one of the companies in Senegal, Anida, says there are similarities between the two countries in the ways they engage in agriculture, especially horticulture, which he says is the essence of their visit.
Mission Delegation Senegal bi ci Gambia.
We came here to see our counterparts in the good job that they do, because the World Bank initiated a similar project in Senegal called Perils to help women gardeners and the horticulture. The Gambia has an experience in dry and cultivation, which we want to engage too. Therefore, coming to exchange visit would enhance our knowledge. One of the factories that worked with women specially on buying the harvested vegetables and farms, the GHE horticulture. The GCAF project seeks to improve agricultural, land and water management. The project will contribute 2,500 hectares of tidal irrigation schemes for rice cultivation and 100 hectares of vegetable production, development of agricultural chains and market promotion. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
See Kung Fu Martial Arts Club is making strides to promote healthy behavior and instill discipline in their students. The club organized a talents exhibition on Sunday at the Serakunda East Field. Well, there is a big gender gap in sports with very few women taking part. Despite these realities, one girl, Sohnandao, is still passionate about Kung Fu. Mamadou Gajaga has more.
Women and girls have proven to have a strong mentality in taking part in many previously male-dominated sports. Among these is martial arts. Sohnan Dao stood tall to compete among men and be counted. Her physical and mental strength has been her driving force. I really love Kung Fu as a sport. I've not gotten into it to show off, but to keep fit. I choose this sport for the discipline it will inculcate in me, and not to go out in the street looking for a fight. These days, some people want to bully or physically assault women for no genuine reason. I will defend myself in such instances where necessary. Different forms of acrobats, diving, muscle flexing, and so of skills in self-defense were demonstrated by students of the club. Perhaps the most eye-catching action is the use of machetes and sticks. The objective of the club is common.
We struggle for nothing but discipline, peace of heart and mind, environment, and of course, serving the security sector to the best of our abilities. But there are a lot of people who graduate from our club and then they have been absorbed by the security sector. Kung Fu, we train Kung Fu to boost our mental and physical health, and of course to give us that agility and ability to defend ourselves as individuals. So basically this is the concept behind Kung Fu, and we are glad that this day was really a success.
Despite being a sporting discipline, some people think the concept of martial art is promoting violent behavior.
As we always say, I always talk about national issues when it comes to Kung Fu sport. We always encourage individuals who in fact want to serve the security sector to first come and learn Kung Fu, because we believe that after learning Kung Fu, you will not harm your own people. This is the discipline. It doesn't teach you to go outside to be a street fighter. We are not producers of street fighter. If you see any individual who says, I'm a Kung Fu practitioner and still fighting, arguing on street, then know that that individual really don't learn Kung Fu.
Different people have different ways of getting rid of stress and other forms of mental turmoil. Matar Baji is a senior student of the club and has found a way of relieving his stress. Before participating in Kung Fu, I used to be temperamental. I will just go mad with little issues. But since I came to this club, that has changed. I've become a well-mannered person. My health status also has really improved. As it is the case in many sports in this country, there is the lack of a proper training ground and other logistical challenges. It is very tough for us. You can even see that some of our students are without shoes. Normally, there should be uniformity, not only in the dress, but shoes as well. We urge authorities to support us. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
And before we end this bulletin of the news, here is a recap of our main stories. The Muslim New Year has been commemorated across the world. In the Gambia, the public holiday was a time for prayer, remembrance and deep reflection. The government has issued a statement in response to concerns about the misuse of diplomatic passports. President Adama Barrow this evening left for the Kingdom of Qatar for a 3-day state visit. He was seen on departure by the Vice President, Cabinet Ministers and security chiefs. The President is expected to use the visit to strengthen the bilateral ties between Banjul and Doha and to seek more support from Qatar to advance his government's development agenda. And at a National Youth Dialogue event, among other things, there were calls for government to communicate better with youths rather than through press releases sent to the media. And that brings us to this edition of the news. On behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow for more news.